Hey guys, Matt Dog here with another video. Zombies and zombie piles have gotten some really cool support that makes a particular card, Ghost Fusion, a lot easier to use. This is basically branded fusion, but for zombie decks, where activating this one card allows you to summon Beatrice to send two cards to the grave, any cards at all, along with an additional send, along with an extra summon. So first, basically, we run Upstart Goblin because it has this weird criteria where your life points have to be lower than your opponent's in order to banish a zombie from your deck. So what you're really doing is you're banishing a zombie from your deck while also special summoning a level 6 fusion monster. Before, we would have to make Garura, which would mean that would have to be a dark zombie monster, which a lot of times you use something called Uni-Zombie, which is pretty much the same thing as this card, but for extra consistency and extra graveyard effects, if you want to use zombies that have an Earth attribute, or if you want to use Flying Mary, which is now a water attribute, or if you want to use Eldritch, which is a light attribute, there are a lot of zombies that Helgul Mazira, whatever. There are a lot of zombies that aren't dark that before would limit what you're able to do with Ghost Fusion. But now, because we have the Duke of Demise, instead of making Garura to get a draw one, we can get an extra normal summon and an extra add a low level zombie from the grave to our hand, which don't really matter that much. What really matters is that it's any two zombies that we choose. In this case, we're using an Earth attribute zombie, and we're just going to use Max C as basically another upstart goblin. You'll hear my thoughts on like hand traps versus going sort of full gas board breaker, but whatever. Um, so we send a zombie monster from the field to the grave, which is really important because Changshi, the monster that we always want to banish from our deck, has this effect where you need to banish a zombie in your grave to special summon itself. Cool. So we fusion summon a level 6 monster. We special summon a level 6 monster. So now, just off of activating Ghost Fusion, we get to send another zombie from our deck to the grave, in this case, Necroworld Banshee, which is able to set up the zombie world, which is amazing in this meta, full of Fiendsmith, White Forest, Tearlements. Like, zombie world is this amazing floodgate that also enables a lot of our plays. And on top of that, you get Beatrice. So what we could do is send rollback plus the Miyazaki trap to completely lock them out of being able to summon. And honestly, that's probably what I should do. But in this case, I'm just going to get the Doom King package online. So Doom King's going to summon himself back every turn. I use this one card here that special summon him and that I'd use him as link material, but unfortunately they have an imperm, so they negate negating this Druis Worm, and they get rid of our Beatrice, which would have been really nice to have for next turn. Whatever. Eldritch summons himself out. We get a little bit more engine online. Eldritch is great in combination with all these like zombie pile decks, because once Eldritch is on the field, we have a quick effect summon like any monster in our deck at all, which can be amazing. Let's see. The reason that I banished Duke of Demise there, like I didn't really want to add Changshi from the grave to the hand. What I thought I could do is I could add Max C to hand because it's a zombie and it says you can add any level lower zombie. But I guess because it's not a zombie in your hand anymore, for some reason I wasn't able to do that. Whatever. Okay, so they're floodgated. They have double negate from Doom King and non-targeting banish. So we don't want them to activate to add the Dragon Maid spell. They use Typhon. They're probably going to send back Eldritch, and they do, so I just summon a zombie from hand. And we have this other card, Algul Mazira, which anytime our card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, or zombie monster specifically, he banishes himself and then special summons himself back. So, yeah, GG. And it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because Doom King keeps coming back, but yeah, so Duke of Demise specifically, just in the same way that Garura and Mud Dragon, like they have extra effects, but what you really care about is what it takes to fusion summon them. Duke of Demise is a level 6 monster that requires exactly the materials we need to make a ghost fusion happen all the time, which is a way that we can get a ton of advantage. Part of the reason people haven't really noticed much of the zombie support cards, first of all, there's only a couple of them, and they're more like enabling our plays to be stronger as opposed to like making a whole archetype completely different. So part of the reason they're not being focused on is because Blue Eyes also came out. So I really like the concept of the Blue Eyes support that they have. It's basically like enabling them to go into the plays they already want to. Obviously, they have Ash Maxi. Um, it enables them to go into the plays that they want to. Like you'll see in this duel, I think they summon the level 9 synchro that they've had for years, like 3 times on turn 1, just with the new support. So I really like that idea of just like making what your deck already wants to do, like able to do it more easily. And they actually go completely full combo. They do everything they want to. They have, well, you'll see, like, this is basically the maximum possible power that a Blue Eyes player is able to have. And we are down 2 cards because we used a couple of hand traps that did absolutely nothing against them. I think at some point I end up like dropping the hand traps entirely to go full like board breaker and gas, which is great because I love the gameplay that you get from taking an opponent, letting them do everything they want to, and just cracking them over your knee. So to review, all right, they have double negate cards in the grave. These are not hard ones per turn. Double like summon out any like high level synchro monster they want to, including one that's like a monster negate and another that's an omni negate. And then they have this guy who's a triple negate for a monster, a spell, and a trap, like Appaloosa, like get out of here, you're so old. And they can also special summon a monster from the grave. And if any of their cards get destroyed, then all the rest of their cards are going to be protected by Jet Dragon. If I try to attack them, they're going to special summon and get more advantage. So pretty amazing starting hand. Obviously, Super Poly is going to go a long way. We get rid of the triple negate and one of the graveyard negates. We also have this graveyard effect to get a search off and add a zombie from our deck to our hand, which you'll see is really important for board breaking. In this case, they couldn't negate my card. I'm the turn player, so my chains go first, and they had an on resolution chain thing where if it leaves the field, they can special summon a Blue Eyes monster from their extra deck or graveyard. So they'd rather use this to get a free summon from the extra deck than like try to stop me from adding one random zombie. In this case, they get an Omni Negate. They're like, yeah, I'd rather have an Omni Negate than like you add a zombie to hand. But in this case, Eldritch counters their Omni Negate because it says it card effect activated on the field, you can negate the activation. However, we're not activating in the field, we're activating the hand. Get out of here. Goodbye. All right, they can negate 1 card in grave, but that's kind of all they have in terms of negates. And now I can just do grass. We get rollback. We get a bunch of Eldritch cards. Yeah, we're going to absolutely pop off. And GG, they're done. So I really love Super Poly, other type of board breakers. Super Poly is great with the Duke of Demise, actually, because there's a bunch of like U-Bell engines and Fiendsmith cards that all have a bunch of fiends that are also like different attributes, which is really hard to Super Poly away. Like if they have an Earth attribute 1 and a grass attribute 1 or whatever, then you're not going to be able to make Mud Dragon. But now we can make Duke of Demise, so multiple negates. Goodbye. All right, Tearlament. Again, Tearlament going full combo. While we let them do full combo, which we've seen a million times, the other really important piece of zombie support we got is Flying Mary. So it's not really something that you'll see turn 1 a ton. It's more like turn 2 or turn 3. They use Called by the Grave or a Bestial to banish your Doom King Balduroc or your, your Eldritch. And you just make this with a couple of your zombies. You put it in the spell and trap zone. You special summon your banished zombie monster. You pop one of their cards, and now you have fuel for like your Eldritch to do stuff. It's really solid. You can also just leave it there as like a way to pop one of their monsters every turn. And I got it in Royal Rare. It's very nice. What you can do turn 1 is if you have Zombie World on your field, you can make Flying Mary, and then you can special summon any of your high-level monsters from the graveyard to your field. Like you'll see that we can sometimes, in this version of the deck, make cards like Baronne de Fleur. So you might be able to just straight up special summon your Baronne back. In this case, Eldritch, again, doing his job for board breaking. We get a negate. I'm hoping if they have the counter trap that they'll negate it here, but even if they do, they actually don't have a card in hand to discard, so we're safe. Draw 2, that's great. Get grass, thank you very much. So what do they even have right now? They have probably like a monster negate trap, maybe the monster flip trap, summon negate, and they can probably drop one of these to make the big fusion that spins a card away. So they still have a lot of interruptions, but now we have a lot of engine. So Gozuki is going to special summon a card. We don't really care about which monster he special summons. What we really care about is that he's going to banish, you'll see in a sec. All right, so they're making the fusion monster, but because Shang-Chi was sent to the grave, we can use Shang-Chi as fuel to get our extra special summon off, which means that she's banished, which means that she comes back. But she needs to banish a zombie monster from the grave for her to do her thing, and she banishes the Al Ghul, who also comes back. They chose the wrong monster to spin back. They should have hit Shang-Chi, because it's super important for the deck. Whatever. I probably should have just used her effect now, but it turns out it doesn't matter. They have the monster negate trap. All right, we're going to start getting all of our Horus monsters, so if they remove anything, then we'll be good. Okay, they flip a monster, they negate a monster, and Necroll Banshee in case they're going to try to make Kitkalos, like they can't anymore because everything's turned into a zombie. Instead, they make Winda, which really sucks. Can't be destroyed by battle, can only special summon once, but the King Sarcophagus just takes it out. We link it to the Vampire Sucker just for a draw 1 for free. Thank you very much. Ash Blossom, not super high impact. And we make Yuki Oni. So if we hard draw the trap, we can just make this, set it, and then we can lock them out of special summoning forever. But what she can also do is, like Appaloosa gets 2 monster negates from anywhere at any time, but they just negate once and her attack goes down. Instead, twice per turn, whenever we activate a monster effect, or whenever we summon from the grave, or whenever they summon for a grave, or while Zombie World is on the field, whenever they activate a monster effect, we can negate them forever, the entire duel, and make their attack go down to 0. So that's pretty strong instead of Appaloosa. We get a Ghost Fusion, but I don't think we can make it anymore. We already summoned Shang-Chi and stuff. We were going to try to use Plague Spreader Zombie to special summon itself out and make Baronne. They negate that. I keep forgetting that Rukalos is here. Like, I should have used Yuki Oni to negate Rukalos. And here again, I should have negated Rukalos because for next turn, they're going to have their negate back, whereas he's going to need things to happen for him to do stuff. So, big mistake here was not negating Rukalos the first time. Would have been able to do a lot more. Whatever. Special summon Eldritch the Golden Lord by banishing another zombie. Okay. We get the Eldritch Engine online. Spell card, even when we don't need it, we can just summon out Eldritch. It's already the end phase because you had to go to battle phase to get rid of that one card. And Elixir is going to be able to summon the Doom King, or at least it would be able to if Rukalos had been negated last turn, which sucks. They use Super Poly, and I'm not sure why, like, do they not run Garura or something? Like, they make a weird... Okay, so they make Garura, but they choose to send one of their own... They send their own Beatrice to grave for some reason that I can't fathom instead of getting rid of Yuki Oni. Alright, Happy tries to activate his effect, but he's going to be negated by the trap. We needed to bait out this negate instead of just having it be negated. But, you know, it's baited out because they know we'd make the Doom King. Waquera's going to banish the big boy before he comes back. Goodbye. Now we finally negate her, make her attack go to 0 forever. They could make like an SP Little Knight, I guess, but, you know, we've already negated a lot of their effects. They make Dricus Depelia. They negate her, but we've already like gotten her effects off, and you can't destroy her by battle. Yeah, goodbye. Oh my gosh. It's a very different style from the type of decks that I usually make, which focus on having a bunch of traps and a couple of like the Floodgate continuous traps. And maybe because I'm more of that kind of control style player, I don't end up really liking hand traps. Like I run hand traps because it's supposed to be kind of a combo deck, but after the first like 4 or 5 duels, I start adding more and more engine pieces. For example, here we add the Millenium engine, which is basically this way to really easily be able to make 2 level 8s to make the zombie vampire while also reducing your life points so that you get the zombie fusion spell online. So we send those 2 cards. We have the 2 level 8s. Normal summon Unizombie, which is able to send this card, Ghost Sleeper, to grave in order to get Ghost Fusion. One of the reasons we only run 1 Ghost Fusion is because it's super easy to send Ghost Sleeper to grave to add it to hand. And you don't want to have multiple of these in hand if you don't have a way to make your life points lower than your opponent's. Make a Baronne de Fleur, sure, why not? Zombie Vampire, we've got some protection. Alright, special summon an Eldritch, sure, why not? We didn't hit anything else. We can just send it to grave to get Chang-Chi online. Chang-Chi's going to banish just a random card that we don't care about anymore. Send another card, get the Necroll Banshee. The Millennium Engine has this extra spell on the field, so we get Eldritch for free. Beatrice. We actually drew into our rollback, but we can just pop it with Baronne de Fleur. That's not a super reliable thing you can do with this deck, but it's kind of fun to do here. All right, so we've got Baronne de Fleur, full zombie setup. Duke of Demise, just add a card back to the extra deck, whatever. We give them Droll so they don't have access to using like Imperm or Evenly Matched or Lightning Storm. And now we're going to be able to use Beatrice to lock them out of ever special summoning again. Doom King comes back, they use Max C. I'm not going to bother negating it because we're not going to be summoning very much. Yep. Yeah, now they're not going to be able to summon anything. Goodbye. Super fun. You don't make that combo a lot. Like, I find that I usually prioritize making Zombie World plus Doom King Baldrock over Rollback plus the Mayakashi Trap. But when you have a good hand, and a lot of our hands are good because they're all gas, you're able to do stuff like that. There were a couple iterations of this version of the deck where I cut Upstart Goblin for more cards that have effects in the graveyard, but it's like, if I activate Grass, I'm already popping off a ton, so I don't need to worry about making sure every single card has a good effect in the grave, because that doesn't matter if it has a bad effect when I draw it. In this case, however, Upstart Goblin is amazing against Kashtira because it just automatically forces them to activate a monster effect when they summon the big boy, which means that I can Triple Tactics Talent steal him. They also have an IP Masquerena, so this is kind of the full Arise Heart combo too. Like, they've got all the cards that they want. I also had card destruction for a while, but again, it's like a lot of the cards that I draw are so good, I don't want to send them to grave. Like, they usually have effects that are good in the hand and the grave, you know what I mean? So Upstart Goblin, we can use Ghost Fusion when we want, and we can steal their monster. So he uses his banish effect, so I can't use it. I am going to use this effect where every time a card is banished, he gets to recover a card. So I got my Doom King back. They're going to banish a Rise Heart face down, which is great for me, and that means I don't have to worry about trying to get rid of him. Fairy Tale Snow, let's flip his Chang-Chi down so I can use all my spell trap zones. Cursed Eldland to get more Eldritch. Yeah, Cursed Eldland is kind of the best card to have when you're especially going second in this version. Send a bunch of cards to grave. None of the cards immediately activate. Like, it would have been nice if we didn't send Ghost Fusion, but whatever. Yeah, I probably should have gone to battle phase and got rid of IP Masquerena. Like, leaving her there so she could banish our King Sarcophagus is actually a huge problem. Summon out an Eldritch. Yeah, I definitely misplayed here, but let's see if I can recover. Alright, we get the Doom King online. Fenrir already activated his effect this turn. Both of our Eldritch traps get rolling. We get a Banish in the grave, which doesn't matter a ton for this deck, but whatever. Another Max C. Sure, we'll activate Eldixir now. We don't bother with Huaquero because it doesn't matter. Yeah, because our Eldritch was gone, we weren't able to summon something besides Eldritch. Negate the effect. That's out of the way at least. Alright, how are they going to handle this? Banish another 3 cards, starting to lock up my zones. Yeah, this is actually really bad. If they go to battle phase, they're gonna just like banish all these cards that have really good graveyard effects when they destroy them by battle. What you can do though is you can have cards like the Shufflers, the Shizu Shufflers. You activate them, and then on Chainlink 2, Doom King Balderok reacts because a zombie, thanks to Zombie World, activated its effect, and we're going to banish a random monster from any field or graveyard non-targeting. So goodbye, Kashtira Riseheart. There we go. Now our monsters aren't going to be banished anymore. They do add the trap though, which can actually special summon her Riseheart. So that sucks. They're going to banish a random card. Yeah, this is actually looking not so good. They banished Glow Up Bloom. We don't care a ton about that. None of their cards had a strong enough attack to hit over Eldritch, and they didn't want to send Doom King to grave for some reason. Until now. Okay. So that really sucks. The trap's going to bring back a Riseheart at any time. Summon out another card. Oh yeah, so they had a full board. They used Big Bang to banish one of my Eldritches and my Snow face down, which is good, but they also got rid of all their own cards, so I'm not sure if that was really worth it. Here I can actually chain Walquero and go to the zone he was going to lock off, so now I still have a free zone. Unfortunately, because I activated a trap, I don't get to use Cursed Eldland anymore. Whatever. It's really important that we make sure that they don't have any negates. In this version of the deck, am I running Typhon? So I wasn't running Typhon in this version of the deck. You'll see the extra deck is changing a lot as the duels go on. So instead, I make Flying Mary. They're going to add a card, summon back the Doom King. Unfortunately, Flying Mary requires you to destroy a card that has less attack than the monster that we summon. So it's actually not super easy to banish the big boys like a Riseheart. But we can try to activate a monster, a zombie effect in Grave, and because we did a zombie effect, now we can chain and non-targeting banish a card. Goodbye. They can summon it back next turn, but that's why it's really important that we do stuff. We're going to put back our zombie world, some of our resources. Gozuki can send that to get Ghost Fusion. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Shufflers were a huge add to this deck. It's really valuable to be able to interrupt your opponent while also recycling resources. Vampire Sucker, we're going to summon from the grave one of their monsters just to get a free draw. And we go into the Millenium engine. Thank you very much. We're going to cost ourselves some life points, which we need to do in order to activate Ghost Fusion. Like, they have less life points than us. But we can also basically summon a whole bunch of stuff. Now, Chang-Chi's going to pop off. Thank you. Send a Unizombie. Maybe we can special summon it. Pop their card just because. SP Little Knight, banish the trap. Thank you. No more Riseheart. Beatrice, what is she going to send? We already have a bunch of cards engraved. A rollback. Okay, so we can stop them from special summoning from the hand and extra deck. We're just going to activate it right now. I don't want them doing anything. But they can normal summon from the hand using Birth, and they can actually also still special summon from the grave or banished zone. So they're not totally limited here. I'm just going to get Fenrir off the field. They are going to be a lot more limited. They can't special summon from the hand anymore. Talent, they can draw 2, that's fine. Or they're just going to get rid of the Wendu Temple, do not care at all. Banish another card, do not care. Goodbye. Okay. All right, we're in a really good spot. We just have to remember not to use a spell card before we get rid of both of these. That would really suck if they banish everything. Uh-oh. Okay, nice. Yeah, so that's what's really nice about both the Horus engine and the Millenium engine is going first, obviously, they allow you to make a bunch of level 8s, which allow a lot of your plays. You can make the Zombie Vampire to get a special summon and a mill, which a lot of times is a card that like mills one of your cards from the deck to the graveyard, so it just kind of continuously pops off. Or obviously going second, you make Dingirsu. But also, the Millenium engine going second, there are a bunch of big monsters that you summon really easily to just attack over IP Masqueranas and Appaloozas. And you can make this guy who just straight up locks one of your opponent's monsters in the spell and trap zone. So it's like going first, they're good as like these engines, and going second, they're also really strong. Special summon, get it off the field. They're going to banish a card, but they only have a few thousand life points. We're just going to absolutely obliterate them. Summon an attack zone for attack mode for some reason. Add the trap back, but I don't think it's going to matter. We should have plenty of attack points to be able to kill them. Yeah, and they just surrender. I feel like that happens a lot where players are like, oh no, I'm going to lose. I better surrender before I get credit for this duel for, like, you know, the gems and stuff. Whatever. So, yeah, I think at this point I was really switching over to the board breaker gas type of deck. Like, the Horus spell card you saw in a couple of duels just sends opponents' monsters from the deck to the grave and protects them from getting destroyed. Against like mulch armies, we're decent. Like the Horus engine doesn't need to special summon from the extra deck in order to put up like a resilient board where you can at least like survive and have a interruption that your opponent needs to play around carefully. Kind of the downside of this deck is that like Max C is a big problem. Same with like mulch armies and stuff. When you don't have like the Horus engine, because you do like to special summon a couple times from the extra deck to make like Beatrice and things. And especially Max C, where it's like even special summoning Chengshi is a problem. All right, we get rid of Ghost Fusion. We need to prioritize just getting rid of their negates, which is really nice. We get rid of this card. None of their cards can be destroyed or banished this turn. And they also banished one of our cards. So we needed to get that negate out before we use King Sarcophagus. Draw one. All right, that's a pretty good discard off of King Sarcophagus. Send another card. Summon. So, okay. This card says, okay. Your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters in the graveyard. So that really sucks. Some of our cards in the grave might end up being important. And what did they just summon? When your opponent activates a monster effect, they need to discard a card. So, yeah, because of both of these cards, when I activate Grass, a lot of my effects are going to not be able to happen, especially the ones that happen, like, on hitting the grave, like the one that adds, cards. And this guy is now summoning out another Floodgate while putting my monsters in defense mode. Okay. That's not a Floodgate. But like monster effects are basically negated and graveyard effects are negated, and none of these cards can be destroyed by battle or card effect. Very resilient. Okay, a bunch of cards are in the grave. We were managed to hit one of our Horus monsters, which is important just for being able to go to battle. We hit the zombie vampire. We weren't going to activate the effect yet, though. We do use rollback, so they only negate monster effects in grave, not traps. We're just going to try to pop all their monsters. No more floodgates for you. Get off the field. All right, now we can zombie vampire. Let's see what happens. They should be out of plays. Doom King, that's pretty good. Activate a zombie effect to get a non-targeting banish, but none of their cards can be banished yet. Set up the zombie world, thank you. Vampire Sucker to get a draw one. And Fairy Tale Snow. So again, and that's another card that for some reason I wasn't running in the zombie pile for a while, but the fact that you can just keep summoning her back is great. Now that this card is flipped face down, it's not a card that, like, they specify the types of cards that can be protected from being banished, and a face down card is nothing. A face down card is just face down, which means it can get banished. And now we're going to summon Snow again, flip their other card face down, and make an SP Little Knight. Yeah, goodbye. So super resilient board, lots of floodgates, doesn't matter. Get out of here. Another duel against Blue Eyes. You gotta prove that you can do without just having Super Poly in hand. Although, if I remember this duel correctly, I think they aren't able to go full combo, but you see, even though they don't go full combo, they still are able to build a pretty resilient board. And in fact, they're actually so resilient and have such good grind game. I wonder if that first person shouldn't have just tried to see what happens if I pop off instead of instantly surrendering just because I was able to activate Grass. All right, card destruction. I kind of go back and forth about this card. It's like when you have a bad hand, you wish you had it, but if you have a good hand, you wish you didn't. So I don't know. All right, Grass absolutely popping off. Thank you so much. Add Ghost Fusion. They're going to get the negate off, but that's just one negate. Snow's going to bounce it. And we also were able to chain block, not that it mattered. Yeah, the other reason snow is so great is because you can banish all of your zombies that care about being banished. Link summon, SP Little Knight just cuz. Another banish to get rid of a card. Let's see what happens. They do have targeting protection from Neo Blue Eyes, but it's like you have to get rid of it. They also added Imperm though, so that's rough. Negated and destroyed. Yeah. I mean, we're starting to run low on cards, though. I had to banish one of my Eldritches, and they had an Effect Veiler in hand. Oh boy. Whatever. Target a card, send it to grave, banish a Changshi. Changshi can special summon herself. Yeah, I think I already used the Al Ghul effect this turn, so he's just banished forever, but I was running low on monsters. Get a zombie world just cuz, not that it really affects this deck, I don't think, but you banish it, they summon itself out. Flying Mary, the ghost ship's gonna grab one of my banished big boys. Probably just the Al Ghul, because we already have one card. Pop it. It does have an effect where when you attack it, something happens. So I probably should have used Flying Mary to pop the Maiden of White. Although, if I remember correctly, that targets this card too. And this card. Oh, so actually Flying Mary doesn't target. You target one of your own monsters, but then you non-target and destroy an opponent's card. See, I definitely should have used Flying Mary to pop Maiden of White instead, but it's a nice resource. They're going to use the trap, which I think can like destroy up to 3 cards or something. All right, they just destroy the Doom King, the zombie world, but Doom King would actually keep coming back because they have a field spell. Vampire Sucker, can we get a draw 1? Yeah, they quit before. Yeah, they were going to see the Doom King special summon himself back using their field spell. All right, last couple duels. Yeah, I'm in Diamond 2 right now. I definitely feel like you could grind this out to Diamond 1, Master 5, and so on. I feel pretty confident with where my deck is at. That being said, this type of pure zombie pile isn't something I'm super familiar with. I know a lot of people in the past have used like the Punk engine as a way to facilitate getting your plays while also being able to reduce your life points. The Vampire engine feels like it gets a lot stronger with Duke of Demise as opposed to just slightly stronger because there's so many normal summons that you want to use that get a bunch of effects. Probably a Tearlement package might be an interesting thing where it's like, if I'm going this route of going like all gas, I mean, Tearlements is all gas. You'd have to give up some other engine, probably like the Millenium engine or something. But there's also something aesthetic about keeping everything to zombies. And I mean, he's not technically a zombie, but I mean, you could see the family resemblance, I guess. And to be fair, Chang Shi doesn't really look like a zombie either. Like, seriously, which part? Maybe a vampire, I guess. Whatever. Okay, I got distracted. Unfortunately, this is an illusion, so we're not able to super poly both of these away. But we're able to get rid of one of their Omni Negates, so whatever. Get rid of that. They're gonna. Oh, I think this duel I made a mistake a bunch of times where they use the Divine Temple in really interesting ways. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so the Divine Temple and also Flamberge Dragon. So I make my, monster a spell card. He's gonna summon himself, but he can just quick effect summon my monster. So, whoops, so much for that engine, but whatever. They're gonna negate Cursed Eldland, which it's really important for them to do because Eldritch has a hand effect. So this is another card where you can't target him, but you can target the equip spell. Which, if you get rid of the equip spell, then he doesn't have his Omni Negate anymore. But Thrust, Grass, mill a bunch, pop off. Let's see what we can do. First, Banshee, Zombie World. Thank you. Everyone's a zombie. Get Cursed Eldland off the field. It can't use its effect. We are just going to use him as a discard, though, because we can get a couple of our Horus monsters. Maybe get a... Oh, we can just... Oh, that's fun. If we were able to... If Mud Dragon hadn't been negated, we could make it a light and make it a light and dark Chaos Angel, but whatever. Grant another level 8, specifically the Doom King. In this case, his effects are negated, but because he's a zombie, we can still activate his effect to banish a card. So definitely banish the card that has a graveyard effect. All right, goodbye. Pop a bunch. I think Diabellstar is going to come back this turn, right? Has she done that yet? Nope. Yeah, she has. Okay. So we can't quite kill them, but let's see what we can do to lock them up. Here, yeah, I probably should have gotten rid of whatever the mystery back row was, but I don't want them to have this spell card form of removal. Zombie Vampire. Thank you. And now Flying Mary. So we can summon out another level 8. This is another big thing that Flying Mary enables, is just making your rank 8 plays a lot easier. Alright, we finally get rid of that card, and a Typhon more as a floodgate than anything. All of our cards are protected from destruction twice. And we can summon an Eldritch, but it's not that much. This is more of just yeah, the Doom Kings kind of are only forms of interruption. Oh, that's so annoying. Yeah, again, I make this mistake. I should have gotten rid of the Divine Temple. I was like, oh, why would I banish the Divine Temple with SP Little Knight or get rid of it with Dingirsu? They don't have any monsters in the back row. Yeah, but I do. No. So I think they can actually... Yeah, one of your zombies that's banished. I wonder if they can use it to summon one of their own cards from the graveyard. Nope, they're just going to make Typhon. Whatever. Doom King isn't 3,000 attack or more, so I can just banish him. Thank you. And because they use Typhon, they can't summon anymore, and they're done. Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, a lot of really impressive boards just kind of go away pretty quickly. Yeah, I'll be curious to hear what other folks' thoughts are on this version of the deck, though. Like, I feel like I have some level of mastery over like the trap heavy variants, but the variants that are really heavy in monsters, I definitely feel like I have a lot I could learn. In this case, we use the Millenium engine. No matter which of these cards you open, except maybe if you open the temple, it might be a little harder, but no matter which of these cards you open, you're able to really easily make 2 level 8s. And in this case, whatever monster you put from your hand to the spell and trap zone by the effect of Wenju Temple is almost always going to get sent to the grave by contact fusing. So in a way, Wenju Temple is also like basically discard a monster by, you know, a roundabout way. But Zombie Vampire, get a mill. What are we getting? Gozuki. All right, now we can send... I probably... Actually, I feel like I should have sent... what's it called? Yeah, Ghost Fusion. Although, because I got Changshi, there isn't a great monster that I would want to banish. But I would be able to make a level 6. Oh, I don't need to make a level 6. I already have a level 6 right here. So I'm still gonna make Beatrice and get a send-off. Okay, that's great. And we also get all the Doom King stuff going. So Zombie World, Rollback, Foolish Burial. Yeah, let's get Ghost Fusion just because we just way too much engine. Beatrice, sure, why not? We already have Rollback and Graves and the Trap. Oh my god. Yeah, so I guess this video has kind of consisted of 2 parts, right? Going second, Board Breaker, just absolutely demolishing folks. And then going first and absolutely popping off with tons of resources. Yikes. Okay, so last turn I made a mistake. I used Ghost Fusion just because I was like, oh, I have so many cards, I can make whatever. And I tried to banish Algul, so he would special summon himself back, and then I could link him off and I'd have destruction protection. However, it has to be banished from the hand or graveyard. That's really important. So now it's trapped in the banish zone. They use Raigeki. What I could have done is Beatrice send Al Ghul from deck to grave, and then all of my cards are protected from destruction. But I messed up, and now they're all gone. So banish that card. I think they have, yep, they destroy the field spell. Yikes. Yeah, they have Tenpei. So they use their normal summon. Before they can flip the field spell over, we're going to really quick flip their dragon over, which means that because they already used their normal summon, they have to, and they already used, what's it called, Pydra in order to search a spell, they basically have to hard get the quick play spell to special summon in the battle phase. But it doesn't matter because we roll back, copy Ghost Meets Girl, and they can't summon at all. And now on the end phase, we can banish Ghost Meets Girl. Believe it or not, it has its own effect besides the one we're copying. Target a banished zombie, return it to the grave. In this case, we'd put Necroworld Banshee back, banish her again, so that we're going to get our field spell back, and then Doom King's going to come back. And we already have enough materials to send another card to grave, make a Chaos Angel. Oh my god. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Okay, so that was actually, I think I can just go into the deck list right here. See your deck. Yeah, so this ended up being the version of the deck that has gotten me to like Diamond 2 pretty comfortably. Um, yeah, again, I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on this, but I'm going to go over sort of the choices that I've made and the different packages that are involved. So, first package is just the pure zombie package. So Zombie World itself is generally one Doom King Baldrock. You never want to have it in your hand or whatever, but if you send it to grave or if you draw it and then you can like discard it with some other effect, then it's solid. Plus Zombie World. It's a really good negate. It's good against Tearlements. It's good against Fiendsmith, making all their Fiendsmiths turn into zombies. I think I must have mentioned in one of the duels, like we turned all their Fiendsmith monsters into zombies and they just straight up quit. That might be why you don't see me have a lot of games where I'm going first against Fiendsmith because they're not super interesting. Same with White Forest, like some of their cards require you to have a spellcaster on the field and so on. But and then you can place it in your field spawn by banishing a Necroworld Banshee that you'll send to grave. So that's kind of the standard package. It's super splashable in a deck that, you know, can use it. Doom King, Banshee, a couple of these, and all of a sudden you're ready to pop off. Another card that you might want to consider when you have all of these Doom King. Okay, so you've got the Doom King package. What else do you need for zombies? Um, Mad Mauler. I guess you don't really see me use him a lot in these, pretty much any of these duels. So that might actually be an indication that he might be a card that I could cut for something that lets me like get value off of discards. Maybe I'll bring back card destruction and replace it with him. But the idea is that you special summon him out from the grave super free, and then you use one of your level 8 monsters to make a Baron de Fleur. But you'll see that we also are able to make Baron de Fleur super easily by using Unizombie. Use its effect once, goes up to level 4, and we have a ton of ways to get level 6s on the field, both with the Millenium cards, with Changshi, Duke of Demise, Garura, and so on. But yeah, so he's a neat little zombie that gets that effect. Really important zombies are Unizombie, which is your normal summon. You summon it to the field, you send a card to grave. You could send Ghost Sleeper to be able to add um, Ghost Fusion, which is a super important card for you banish your Changshi to special summon back your Changshi while also making a level 6, which either gets you a draw 1, or if you had to use Gozuki, which is the same thing, you send a zombie from deck to graveyard, but it's an Earth card instead, then you would be able to make Duke of Demise, but also maybe you have not used your normal summon yet or something, and you want to add a low level fiend or zombie from your deck to your hand that you can then normal summon to continue popping off. Or you just have multiple normal summons and you can use its effect to straight up get an extra normal summon. But yeah, so Unizombie could send Ghost Sleeper to get the whole Ghost Fusion package online, which has been helped out a lot by having Duke of Demise. Same with Gozuki. You could also send a Mezuki, which allows you to just special summon a zombie from the grave, which is super nice. It allows you to get a bunch of level 8s to keep popping off. You could send... there's also the Al Ghul Mazira, which is another card you might want to send sometimes. It has this protection effect while banishing itself, which is a really nice sort of recursive engine that keeps going on. And then Fairy Tale Snow is just great for any sort of pile. You can banish your Al Ghul Mazira or your Changshi that gets sent to the grave, special summon herself out, activate an effect, while also special summoning all those other cards. Let's see, I think those are the main zombies that we've talked about. Glow Up Bloom, sometimes you'll send that to grave if you already have a zombie world on the field, because it can special summon out a high level zombie, usually either an Eldritch or a Doom King. But its effect to add to hand is also nice, and you might just choose to do that in case you have one of your engines that requires a, discard, like having your King Sarcophagus or, needing something for Super Poly, etc. So it's another nice target to have, and then we have our Eldritch engine. So in this version of the deck, I have cut it down a bit. Normally you run 3 Elixir, 2 Waquero, and 3 Conquistador. Because we have these shufflers that allow us to recur our resources in case we like mill too many of our Eldritch cards, while also being good interruptions against all these decks that love hanging out in the, graveyard. We can cut the Eldritch engine down a bit. What we really care about is getting Cursed Eldland, which reduces our life points, allowing for us to activate Ghost Fusion, while also like adding a card to hand that we can discard with King Sarcophagus, or that we can send one of our opponent's cards to grave when they have a bunch of cards that are Omni Negates, but only Omni Negates for cards on the field. It's a solid engine. Eldritch keeps coming back. Our Millenium cards can become spell cards that allow him to special summon himself. He can get rid of Cursed Eldland or Wenju Temple, like spell cards that you don't necessarily need anymore. If you hard drew one of these traps, you can just set it and Eldritch will grab it and come back. Excuse me. So I really like the Eldritch engine. 2 other engines that we have going on. One is the Horus engine, which is obviously super straightforward. Any deck that has a lot of cards that they'd prefer to be in the graveyard can run triple Horus, triple King Sarcophagus, triple Imseti, and have reasonable confidence they'll be able to discard cards in order to start, getting cards in the grave, while also recovering draws and being able to make really powerful XYZ level 8 monsters. The other engine is the Millennium engine. So you could probably, if you want to be a little cheaper with it, you could run 3 of these and just 1 of the Senju that wakes from a Millennium, because he's technically a royal rare. Like, I think it's if you open with Wenju, then you'll open with being able to make a rank 8 plus having 1 more monster. Whereas if you open with this guy, it's a little different. No, I think actually it's the other way around. I don't know. But it's a super flexible engine where no matter what combination of cards you have, you're going to be able to make a level 8. And if you draw multiple, it also doesn't matter. It just means that you are able to use 1 less monster effect to get the same thing done. So it's a super flexible engine that goes into usually like the zombie vampire to make a mill in case you don't have anything else. Or obviously you could get like a Dingirsu to be a board breaker on your opponent's turn. Snake Eyes Doom Dragon is great because as you're making your rank 8 plays, if you're going second, it's also a form of removal on top of like then being able to make a Dingirsu. So as a going second board breaking tool / engine, I really like it. And of course, it reduces your life points so that you can go into Ghost Fusion, which allows you to pop the F off, as we've seen in a couple of our videos. Seen in a few of our duels. Anything else I'm missing? So there's out of engine sort of neat cards. There's Snow. We have both of the shufflers. Yeah. Other cards, Upstart Goblin. I think it's just like a neat way to allow your deck to be a little bit thinner and more consistent, while also having the effect of making Ghost Fusion online more easily. Like, we just need more cards that make it online while also like getting a draw. So for those purposes, it's great. Foolish Burial, you send any monster from the deck to the grave. Pretty much all our most important cards do that. Unizombie, your normal summon. Gozuki, your normal summon. Chang-Chi, like a big part of the reason you use Ghost Fusion, which is like you get to make, basically Ghost Fusion is like Foolish Burial plus Beatrice plus like extra body. But, that being said, that's why Foolish Burial is great, because it's like all these other cards. Gold Sark, at first I was like, oh my gosh, I should just run 2 copies of Gold Sark. It's basically Ghost Fusion, like you have 1 less level 6 body, but you automatically special summon Chang-Chi, right? Not necessarily. You do need to have a zombie monster in your graveyard that you can banish in order to special summon Chang-Chi. So on its own, Gold Sark isn't a starter, but like when other cards are rolling, then it can be a starter. So just 1 copy of it is nice. I also have it in Royal Rare. It's probably one of my better Royal Rares. A lot of my Royal Rares don't ever show up, but that's a Royal Rare. Anyways, Grass, big part of the reason we run a 60 card deck. You send a whole bunch of cards that have graveyard effects from the deck to the graveyard. You absolutely pop off. I brought Triple Tactics Talent up to 2 just because I found like there were a bunch of times when my opponent would activate a monster effect, activate a Max C, activate an Ash Blossom, going second. It's a great board breaker. Like, I just want to see it often, but 3 is probably too often because then you start having an inability to get them to activate a monster effect in the first place. Thrust, I have it at 3 just because Ghost, Grass looks greener is so amazing. It's actually not amazing going first. I might actually even consider dropping it to 2, but you saw a lot of our going second duels that were really great were ones where I had Thrust and was able to go into either like a board breaker or a bunch of engine. So I think I'll probably keep it at 3. What else did we need to talk about? Super Poly, great board breaker. You can use it going first, you can use it going second. The discard actually helps you sometimes where you actually want that card in the graveyard, but you have trouble getting it there. And all you really need is Mud Dragon plus Garura that covers pretty much everything that you'll run into consistently. And having Duke of Demise means that if you have Zombie World on the field, you can, grab any 2 monsters that they have. And also there's a lot of Fiend decks just in general, so you can use it as a general board breaker that way. Like we used to run, like there's a different card that's like Fusion Material 2 zombie cards, which you would run in Zombie World, but now we have a lot more applicability for our extra deck monster. So it just basically gives us like a free extra deck space. Let's see, any other cards? Called by the Grave. This could probably be anything, but rather than having a bunch of hand traps, I'm like, I just want to have a slight chance to not have to worry about like Max C, but without like committing a ton of cards in my deck to it. And the Eldritch cards. And then obviously we have this, Ghost Meets Girl plus Rollback. I don't make it a ton because I found almost always I would go Zombie World plus, Doom King first. And then if I had the materials to keep going, I would also do Rollback plus Ghost Meets Girl. Maybe that's like a strategy mistake where I should just always prioritize this. And then when I can only send a zombie monster, also get that online. But I don't know. A lot of times when I have Beatrice, as we start to move to the extra deck, when I have Beatrice, because you can summon it super easily with this version, I would also just send like a Shuffler against a deck that has a bunch of like graveyard effects. It's a really potent interruption and also a good way to recur resources. Going into the extra deck, we have the Super Poly / Ghost Fusion package, which allows you to either get a draw 1 or like extra normal summons, while also getting Beatrice plus extra cards. Hopefully Beatrice doesn't get banned for another month or 2, because this has been a fun deck. The Doomed Dragon, Snake Eyes Doomed Dragon, is really important for the Millenium package. It's what makes it super easy for you to make your rank 8 monsters. Baron de Fleur, it comes up a decent enough amount that I would definitely keep him. I feel like if I get rid of Mad Baller, it might come up even less. But it's nice to be able to put up an Omni Negate relatively easily, because a lot of times we have so many monsters that it's hard to figure out what to do with them. Chaos Angel, we can make that super easily, either with like a pair of the Eldritch traps or Uni-Zombies able to increase its level really flexibly. Fairy Tale Snow plus all of our level 6 monsters. Well, not all of our level 6 monsters, but some of them is able to make Chaos Angel really easily. Solid form of removal. Beatrice, it's amazing. It's probably going to get banned at some point, but being able to set up your opponent can't summon at all, or a whole bunch of engine is really nice. And then we have sort of our Horus / Millennium rank 8 targets. Going first, it's usually the Zombie Vampire, because like just on its own, Zombie Vampire plus Ghost Fusion pops off, and a lot of times Zombie Vampire's mill is either going to be straight up Ghost Sleeper to be able to add Ghost Fusion, or if you mill like a Uni-Zombie or a Gozuki, then you can special summon those by the effective Zombie Vampire and just send Ghost Sleeper. So it's a super consistent way to get a lot of advantage. Going second, Dig Gearsu protects all of your cards from getting destroyed, removes a card, no explanation needed. And then I have Hope Harbinger as sort of another going first rank 8 target, where you can use this, negate a spell that your opponent activates. There's a lot of really potent spells. We have other cards that can deal with monster effects, like the Doom King or Yuki Oni. So I don't know if you need the XYZ monster that negates a monster effect, but let me know if you have other ideas for rank 8 targets you think might be able to fill this space better. Typhon's another sort of generic card that you could probably convince me to drop it. Like maybe I need another really good rank 8 monster instead. But when you're desperate, he'll at least give you a fighting chance. Vampire Sucker is usually a way to get a draw, and then you link it into Yuki Oni. So the ideal situation is to make the big girl who has multiple negate forever, reduce attack to 0, which is great for going second, obviously, for making it so that they like have no monsters, but also just going first because it's just a form of interruption on your opponent's turn. But yeah, it's basically you have this as a free draw. SP Little Knight, form of removal, super easy to get extra deck monsters on the field, no explanation needed. And Flying Mary, this is the gorgeous new support card that gives you a lot more recursion, which I felt like sometimes we need. Like if you have a banished zombie, now we have a chance to bring it back. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to test out a different type of zombie deck than I'm used to, but I was super happy with the results. I think that the duels that we had were hilarious, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace.